What's up, guys? Hope you're doing well. Welcome back to the channel. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. That really helps me out. In this video, we're going to be going over a E100 John Deere riding mower, E100, a carburetor issue. Now, this unit only had 9 hours on it, and I just recently posted a video about how you can use carb cleaner to find vacuum leaks around gaskets, and if you're having like a Welsh plug missing or something. The Welsh plug thing is kind of rare. You often see more intake manifold gaskets or the carburetor gaskets having a vacuum leak, causing it to run rough, especially at idle, or it's kind of surging or backfiring a little bit. Now in this case, like I said, this unit only had 9 hours on it, so it's relatively new, and it was coming in, I think, for its first oil change. And as I pulled it in, it didn't even say anything on the ticket about it running rough, but as I pulled it in, or as soon as I started it, I knew it was something was going on. And so I sprayed the carb cleaner around the gaskets and everything to see if that was the issue, and that wasn't the issue. If you start hearing it run different when you do that, that indicates where the leak is, where you're spraying. So I kind of suspected there was something in the carburetor, and now this has happened a few times with brand new carburetors from the factory. There might be like some debris from when they machine the parts or put it together. Some dirt might get in there, and so I was suspecting there was a carburetor issue. So I thought this would be a good opportunity, since I had to go ahead and just take video and photos for warranty anyway. Thought I'd share with you how to do this.
So here's the mower we're talking about. It's a E100, and you can notice how it's idling really bad there. Rev it up, it's running very similar to the factory. This is what it might run like if you have something clogging up, have debris in the carburetor. So first thing I'm going to do is remove this cover. There's a little 1/4-inch screw right there by the air filter, and you have those 2 on the front that I just showed and 2 on the back, and you have this fuel pump there you'll have to remove. There's 2 screws on the back. Those are kind of hard to get to. So I'm going to remove the air filter. And to remove, some of these fuel pumps just have these little plugs in there, little rivets, and it's kind of scary to remove them. You feel like you're about to break it, but basically you just use a screwdriver and pop them out. And this is what they look like. It's just a little rivet with a little washer. And now I'm going to take out that other little screw, and you should be able to just lift this up and out of the way. And then make a note also on those bolts. The shoulder is longer on the back than on the front, so just make a note of that as you place your bolts. And this little metal piece I'm going to show you, do not crank it up, because that little metal piece could get caught in the flywheel or your fan right there and cause some issues. So first thing I'm going to do is just remove this clamp for the fuel line. Twist it off of there, and fuel's going to come out, so just tuck it up where that end of that hose is up higher than the fuel tank, and you won't have gas leaking everywhere. Then you're going to take off this little hose here, ventilation hose, and then you have a PCV hose on the other side for this little intake. You can just slip that off. Then I believe those took a 7/16. Take your wire off your fuel shutoff valve. Yeah, 7/16. I've already loosened these up with my ratchet. Now this little intake doesn't have a gasket. It's got like an O-ring, which is really nice on this side. So you can usually reuse that depending on how old it is. Now these right here, I believe these took an 8mm. And see, they're kind of like screws that go into that plastic the other side of that intake. And there's the old gasket. Now, if you're going to try to clean your carburetor and reuse this gasket, just make a note that you put it on exactly how it goes, because you can see how it kind of has like a little groove there pressed into the gasket where it mates up with the carburetor. So if you don't put it back exactly the way it was, you're going to have a vacuum leak. Alright, so I would recommend taking like a photo or something, just to, because sometimes these things have different holes on these levers and things on the carburetor. That way you can make sure when you go to put it back on, you're putting it back on correctly. And a lot of times you'll have to kind of tilt the carburetor in awkward ways. Like I'm going to have to tilt it up to get it around this lever there. And that one just dropped on the ground. But let me show you. That's for the choke actually. So it slips in right here. So when that throttle goes full all the way up to the choke, it pushes that and operates the carburetor choke. Now here's the part that I needed. What you need to do is make sure you go to Deere.com, and you'll need to know your PIN number, and you go to Deere.com to make sure you're getting the right part.
So real quick, I'm going to show you how to look up parts on Deere.com. Just go to Deere.com, and right up here at the top, you'll hit that, and then go to Parts and Service, and go to Parts, and then I often go to Commercial Mowing. It pretty much brings up just about everything, and then type in your PIN number. So once you have your PIN number in there, it's going to bring up everything for this mower, and to go to that, find that carburetor. I'm going to go to Fuel and Air, and it's going to give you breakdowns of everything. And it's not the best system, but it really is pretty nice being able to find pretty much any part. Sometimes the parts are a little hard to find. So you can order each individual part. There's that little fuel shutoff valve, but you can just order the whole thing, got the gaskets there, and then it gives you the breakdown and the price. Now it'll have the price once you've selected a dealership for your location.
Alright, so basically it's just reverse order. You put all your levers and things back on. Make sure that gasket is lining up properly. And I'm just running these down very gently with my impact driver. I'm going to tighten them up with my ratchet. So I'm just running it, just saving a little bit of time. I'm just running them down nice and even, getting it snug, and then I'm going to do the final tightening with my ratchet so I can just kind of feel it by hand. And you don't want to over tighten this stuff. And then just make sure that O-ring is nice and clean, and inspect it to make sure it doesn't need to be replaced. Plug back in your fuel shutoff valve, run your gas hose, your vent lines, the PCV hose. Make sure everything is lining up right. Now I'm going to put this cover back on, and I'm going to show you one thing you want to make sure. See those grooves right there? Those tabs? The piece of plastic needs to go right between there. This is the piece right here on this housing. It needs to go right between there. If you don't have that properly aligned, that piece of metal will get caught up into that fan and tear it up. So just take your time right here. I'm going to show you. See how I'm kind of lining it up? It's kind of hard to see right here. So what I like to do is press on that with my finger and make sure that doesn't move towards the flywheel before you crank it up. You will instantly know you have a problem if you let that piece get in there and caught up in that flywheel. Alright, so unfortunately I'd left the key on this thing, ran the battery down, but we're going to crank it up and see how it sounds. Let's see if that solved the issue. Alright, so it's definitely running better now, so that solved the issue. And just real quick, I wanted to show you what the fuel shutoff valve does. Basically, this thing goes up and down. When you turn the key on, it goes down to let fuel go into the carburetor, and sometimes that can be the issue of your mower not starting.
The most common ways things are going to get to your carburetor are either a very dirty air filter or dirty fuel filter. Those fuel filters filter out most of the stuff, but not all of it. You'll be surprised what can get through those fuel filters. Also, if you are getting things in your fuel tank, check the O-ring or gasket on your fuel cap, because those do deteriorate over time and they'll fall into the gas tank. And then basically, as you're running around cutting grass into this dusty, sandy grass flying around everything, if that gas cap doesn't have the seal on it, it will, as the gas is being consumed, it's creating a vacuum on that tank, and stuff is actually getting sucked into the gas tank. So we see it all the time, grass, sand, and other debris. Also with your fuel cans, you can get stuff in there. So just, that's how stuff gets into your carburetor. So some of you may be asking, hey, why didn't you just clean the carburetor? I actually did. When I took it off, I did try to clean it out. I don't have enough time. When I'm doing under warranty work, I have to justify my time that I'm spending on it. So I did try to just quickly clean it out with some carb cleaner and a little bit of air. And I didn't see anything. It looked really clean. But it's not justifiable to spend the time taking it all apart versus just putting on another $100 carburetor when our hourly rate is $110 at to Deere.com for the dealership. So it actually saved them more money by me just putting on a new carburetor. So if it were my mower, I would try my best to kind of clean it out. If it's my mower and it's not under warranty. If it is under warranty, take it to the dealership and let them worry about it, because chances are you'll probably just get a brand new carburetor on there. So anyway, I'm going to wrap this video up. I hope it helps you guys out. If you're having this issue, hit that like button, but most importantly, hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out. I'll have more videos like this coming soon, guys. Thanks for watching.